Wife is furious I won't punish our son for rejecting her best friend's daughter. Am I the a-hole? And it's by user miserable article 44. Am I the a-hole for not supporting my wife's decision to punish our son and letting him go to a party that will be tonight? This involves some absolute high school drama nonsense that someone my age shouldn't have to deal with, but maybe I am tripping and missing something. So here I am. I, 45 male, share a daughter, 17 female, and a son, 17 male, with my wife, 41 female. My wife's best friend, 40 female, has 2 daughters, 18 female and 15 female. My wife's best friend moved to our town about 6 years ago. My wife and her best friend have been not so subtly pulling for the 2 15-year-olds to end up together. I find this weird and low-key creepy. Me too. About 2 years ago, wife's best friend's youngest daughter appeared to have developed a crush on our son. My son talked to me about it and said he had zero interest. So we discussed how to tactfully but firmly let her down. She has approached him again a number of times over the last couple of years and he has reaffirmed his lack of interest. This past summer, my wife's best friend's oldest daughter turned 18. Her parents went all out for her birthday. It was a whole weekend of festivities and events. One of the events was a couple's dinner for the oldest daughter and all her friends in couples. The younger daughter of wife's best friend wanted to go to the dinner but did not have anyone to go with. She asked my son and he agreed to go but only as friends and just this one time. So they went together. After the dinner, the couples all watched 10 Things I Hate About You together. It was my son's first time seeing it and he commented that he thought the Heath Ledger singing scene was cool. This is important later. Now my business partner, 44 male, every year for the last 5 years throws a huge Halloween party. All our employees are invited along with close friends and family. The party requires a costume. And at this party, there are prices for best individual costume, group costume, and couples costume. My wife's best friend and her family are obviously invited every year. This year, the Halloween party is tonight, October 26th. So let me get to the reason why I'm here. About a month ago, my son is at school and coming towards him is my wife's best friend's youngest daughter with a whole song and dance routine. She ends it by asking him to be her date for the Halloween party. My son was so frustrated and reiterated for everyone to hear that he is not interested in her like that at all. Of course, it being high school, some kids laughed and she ran off crying. She has been bullied pretty badly because of it. My wife's best friend is livid and thinks our son owes her daughter an apology. My wife agrees and thinks at a minimum, he needs to defend her against the bullying. My son has said that for 2 years, he has told her he is not interested and reiterated it over and over. At this point, he thinks it's kind of harassing to him, and it is not his role to defend her harassment of him. I agree with my son. My wife and I have had a number of disagreements about it since it happened. Well, things have intensified in the last couple of weeks or so because another girl whose wife's best friend's daughter apparently does not like asked our son to be her date for the party and he agreed. They are doing a pretty dope couple's costume. This has really pissed off my wife because she thinks he should at least not go to the party with another girl out of respect. I think that is ridiculous. I plan on driving them to the party with me. My wife now does not want to go to the party and is saying I am in a hole and raising our son to be one. So am I the a-hole? No. OP. You are not the a-hole. Your son was pretty clear many times that he was not interested in the girl. She put herself out there with song and dance. She got rejected. That is part of life. It sucks but it's part of life. And forcing your son to apologize to her best friend's daughter for saying no, I'm not interested in you, that's ridiculous. Would your wife also expect your daughter to apologize to a boy that was interested in her and she rejected him and he felt bad? I don't think so. Definitely not the Lopi. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section and now let's check out the community comments. Nagi Appy 8888 says, not the tell your wife consent goes both ways. What if it had been a boy harassing her best friend's daughter for 2 years? Would she still push for the daughter to give that boy a chance or to defend that boy or force her not to go to a party with another boy out of respect? She and the best friend are perpetuating some pretty damaging behaviors in the best friend's daughter. Boeing 36780 says, Mom is way out of line. Agree with whoever said this is harassment. It is. Mom and her friends see the harassment as cute and are far more concerned with the girl's feelings, which are borderline stalkery than those of Op's son. And, yes, no doubt the girl's ears are being filled with all kinds of nonsense by her mother. OP, continue to support your son. He's being harassed. The fact that Mom and her friend are in the grips of some effing teenage romance novel doesn't make it any more acceptable. But there's a lesson here too. If someone is crushing on you, never, but never agree to do anything couple-oriented with them as friends. That was a serious mistake right there. You are absolutely not doing them a favor. A person in the grip of a crush is often looking for any reason to believe it's possible. Celtic Muse book says, okay, let's flip the genders here. If best friend's son was repeatedly pressuring your daughter to be in a romantic relationship with him despite her repeatedly saying no, he'd be seen as a creep. No questions asked. Why does the friend's daughter get a pass here? Thanks for stepping up and being the decent parent and reinforcing your son's right to date someone of his own choice and not knuckle under to his mom's fetish about mating him with her BFF's daughter. That is so very, very creepy. I'm going to suggest a longer conversation with your wife about consent and choice and that unrequited crushes are just a part of the teen years and she needs to get over it and find a guy who is actually interested in her. I'd also mention that you have your son's back 100% on this subject and will be keeping an eye on how she treats girls your son dates, not the a-hole unless a stands for absolutely being a great parent. And OK Childhood 9774 says, not the a-hole. And your wife is being utterly ridiculous. She's basically telling your son that he can date her best friend's daughter or no one. The girl was bullied because of her own actions, not anything your son did. Keep sticking up for your son. I have a feeling he's going to need your support. The community agrees OP is not that is actually being a great parent for sticking up for his son. The mom on the other hand is absolutely wrong. So now, let's move on to the first of two updates to see what happened next. Given the events of the past couple of weeks, I thought I would give an update. My wife did not come to the Halloween party. I took my son and his friend and they had a great time. Unfortunately, only came in fourth in the couple's costume voting. After the party, tensions with my wife died down considerable. She still felt what I did was wrong, but she took a what is done attitude. The bullying at school has gotten more intense. My wife's best friend's daughter confronted the girl who my son did take to the Halloween party. Apparently, she was quite emotional during that confrontation and all the other girl did was not respond, shake her head, and walk off. That has caused some more severe bullying from other girls. As a result, some of the girls have come to her defense because they feel bad for her, and two factions have formed among the girls in 2 grades over this, and it has gotten out of hand. Apparently, some accusations have been thrown around about cheating at my son by various girls. My son has been unbothered because all his truly good friends know the truth. We have regular chickens about this, and he thinks she is ridiculous and annoying. But he simply does not care. I'm like, are you sure you are completely positive you don't want or need us to do more here? He reiterates, no. Anyway, last Friday, we got a call from the school wanting to meet with us about the situation since my son was the source, their words not mine, of the issues. We met with some of the administration and one of the teachers on Tuesday. They wanted my son to help the situation by defending my wife's best friend's daughter to their classmates. He refused and talked extensively about her harassing behavior for the past 2 years. They pushed against his description of her contact, but we ended the meeting with my son promising to provide a list of her harassment over the past 2 years. Tuesday evening, my son prepared the list and showed his mother and I. When my wife saw the list, it was like scales fell from her eyes. She got pretty emotional, apologized to our son, apologized to me and we had a good group hug. She is now 100% on our side. She asked our son if she could share the list with her best friend. My son agreed. My wife's best friend's response was to double down. My wife is now going low contact for the time being. On Wednesday, we took the list to the school. It is a private school and has a strict code of conduct for students in and out of school. So there is a possibility the best friend's daughter may have some type of punishment for her behavior. I took my son out of school for the day and we hung out all day. Just dropped him back at school today. So this is the update. Opie's edit. I wanted to add something I said in the comments. My mom for years was a counselor. One thing she taught me is that repentance and forgiveness are not events but processes. Also, that in order for a relationship to be restored, there must be first repentance from the wrongdoer. In light of that, a practice she had our family do was to write letters when one of us caused harm to another. The letter includes in detail, 1. The wrong the person has committed, 2. The resulting harm that was done, 3. The immediate action that will be taken to mitigate the harm, and 4. The long-term actions being taken to mitigate the harm and ensure the action is not repeated. My wife is currently working on her letter. The person who receives the letter can respond and request that additional actions be taken to address the harm done. My wife knows she is only at the beginning of the process and that it is going to take time. Also, while the past month has been terrible, this is not my wife's general disposition towards our son or other girls he has expressed interest in. A girl moved in a few houses down this past summer, and when she waved at my son, he displayed all the 15-year-old boy nervousness that are telltale signs of a crush. So my wife went to the store, bought muffins, and made our son go over there with them as a housewarming present and introduced himself. So I do not think my wife is hung up on the idea of our son and her best friend's daughter such that she will discourage him from marrying or being with anyone else. Okay, it seems that things are moving in the right direction, but Of course, we have the final update. So let's move on with that to see how this story ends. This will be the final update. After everything that went on with the school last semester, my wife's best friend decided to remove her daughter from school, and she is now going to the local public school. But a week ago, my son received an email from the daughter apologizing for everything that occurred last semester and asking for them to remain friends. Apparently her dad finally sat her down and explained how everything she did would look from a guy's perspective. He has agreed with me since the beginning, but he didn't say it to his wife at the time because he didn't want to ruffle feathers in his house. But he fully agreed with me and told his daughter multiple times to leave my son alone. Anyway, my son wrote back and said while he accepted the apology, he thinks it is best that he keep his distance. He wished her luck at the new school. My wife's best friend still insists that my son should apologize to her daughter. My wife has said in no uncertain terms that crap isn't happening. A few more kids were disciplined by the school since my last post, but things have calmed down on that front. We are doing family counseling and it has been going well. That is all. This is the final update. Well, OP, I'm gonna call it a happy update. Your son no longer needs to deal with this crap. He's got both of his parents' support, and the only delusional one here is your wife's ex-best friend. Even the daughter understood that what she did was wrong and apologized for that, so props to her. In any case, here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and to take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? And it's by user Isapai. Am I the A-hole for choosing family over wife's best friend? Hi, everyone. I just got into a huge fight with my wife regarding attendance of conflicting events. Her best friend is getting married later this year, East Coast, and has told us the dates for about 2 months now, and we were definitely planning on going, apart from the fact that my wife is the maid of honor. This is a smaller wedding of around 60 people. So only people who her friend really wanted to attend got an invite. A few days ago, I was told by my family that we were going to have our grandma's 100-year birthday party on the same day in the West Coast. I thought this was a no-brainer, and I said, if this was any other birthday, I would skip it. But this is to celebrate her 100th, and I would like to attend the big party and she can go to her friend's wedding. Literally, the whole family would be there except her, and my family understands she had a prior obligation. Many families are traveling from overseas to be in attendance. My wife is very upset that I had RSVP'd earlier and that now I'm backing out of attending the wedding. I can't really see what the big point is since we can each attend the event we find more important to our individual lives. Her main points are, 1. There are so many people attending the party, they won't even know you aren't there. 2. You committed to the wedding earlier than this event. To be honest, I didn't even know the party until a few days ago. 3. The fact that I was invited to the small wedding means so much to her friend and would make her sad if I didn't go and were not part of the pictures. I was part of the must-attend list. 4. Parents told me to attend if you can, which gives me a pass for not going and not hurting anyone's feelings. And 5. We are a unit, so we should be seen together at these big events, so it's gonna be weird that I'm alone at my thing and she's alone at her thing. My points are, 1. I like your friend, but I prefer to celebrate the 100th birthday, which is a milestone for not only my grandma but also for my family. 2. I don't like my wife thinking for her friend. 3. I want to attend the family event. I feel like this trumps everything. All of her points. I don't know. I feel like it's a no-brainer, but she absolutely lost her crap over this, and I don't feel like I did anything wrong, so I can't even force myself to, try to console her. Maybe I'm the a-hole for this. Anyways, am I the a-hole? Well, in my opinion, I don't think you're the a-hole, and I think your solution is the one that makes most sense. You go to your best friend's wedding and I'll go to my grandma's birthday party. Now I understand that the best friend's wedding is a small event, 60 people, but the fact that you wouldn't be there, I don't think would mess up the whole party. Maybe the groom not being there, that would mess up the party. And I agree with you. A 100th birthday party is a huge milestone, and being there to celebrate for your grandma would be great. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's check out the community comments. The says, the fact that you do not have a problem of her attending the wedding and do not demand she comes with you proves you are logical and not the a-hole. Stick to visiting your grandma because you will regret it forever, and this will always cause a rift between you. False Salamander 2952 says, soft, you're the a-hole, but not because you want to attend your grandma's birthday. You become the a-hole by making the decision unilaterally and minimizing your wife's feelings. A conversation where you show empathy for her position and explain yours would have gone a long way. And Tulip Font Squirrel says, not that nothing is more important than grandma's 100th birthday. This will likely be the last gathering of extended family to ever happen. Once grandparents are gone, extended family splinters into their own family units. Your wife's friend's wedding holds zero value compared to grandma's 100th birthday. You will never forgive yourself if you miss her day. You will always resent your wife if she pressures you to miss out on your family celebration. There is no compelling reason for you to attend the wedding. Your wife can go to the wedding while you celebrate family. Well, the community is in between not the a-hole in the majority and some you're the a-holes. So now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. Thanks so much for all of the comments and perspectives. I see where I was the a-hole to my wife and not be aware or considerate about the amount of stress of being a maid of honor entails. Her job was to ensure that her best friend's day is the best that it can be. And also, she was expecting me to be there, so it was just the perfect stress storm. For the reconciliation process, I just laid out what I would like to do, which is a different than my usual approach. I like to give wife options and she can choose. She has to choose enough already, so it was an attempt on my end to lessen her burdens. 1. FaceTime the bride immediately after the conversation and explain the situation and timeline of events. 2. Go on a double date to a restaurant that they had on their list for a while. 3. Go with my wife on the morning of the wedding when they start to do all the prep and congratulate her on the wedding, and then take a flight to the West Coast. I'll be a little late to the birthday, but it's okay. Wife was still not too happy that I was going to not be at the actual wedding, but understood that things come up and agreed with my plan. She was upset that I didn't remember that it was my grandma's birthday month and there could have been a potential celebration. Willoughby, I don't necessarily agree with your plan.